Welcome to this podcast. My name is Edward, and today we have the honor of speaking with the CEO and founder of Vivid Financial Solution, Mr. Steven Kyod Baba today. Thank you so much for joining us. What are you excited about, and what are you thankful for?
I'm excited about right now, right this moment, this space right now. I'm excited about it. It's unique. It's first of its kind. So yes, my stomach is going blue, 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 blue already. So yeah, and what am I grateful for? Right? Yeah. Apart from grateful for this moment, I'm grateful for tomorrow.
Amazing, amazing. So before we get into everything you've built, I want to go back to the very beginning. I mean, you came to Scotland, right? And you came with the mind of, becoming an engineer. I saw, you were at University of West Scotland, mechatronics. Most people in the position or in that position stay on that path, which is okay.
Mhm.
So what happened that made you step off it? And was there a specific moment, a conversation or a realization that changed everything for you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks for that question. I think that this is not the first time I've been asked that question, but I think each time I get asked, I redefine the reason and the moment. So, of course, I graduated as an engineer, my first degree, my second degree, and worked for over 10 years as an engineer. But there's something in me all through this period of I cannot, because I'm sure I'm not the only one. I commit myself to everything. I give myself, it doesn't matter what I get paid. I know my salary is sort of like a fraction of my input. It's always been, I've always been an entrepreneur by design, put it that way. Just to do something I can throw myself into, all. So uh, the turning point for me, beside the fact that I've always, whilst being an engineer, working and earning, making a living, good job, enjoyed that creative aspect of my life, and which is it never stopped, by the way. So that creative aspect, through that period, I've always thinking of, right, okay, I want to go and do something, I want to create something, I want to build something. uh, I look at the options through my degree, engineering, my experience. Naturally you will think, following that field where you've gained experience and all that, might be, I consider various engineering options, from project managing to different other things.
Yeah.
But the breaking point for me, or the decision maker for me, beside the fact that I have a colleague who I can call a senior brother, he
Yeah.
has always spoken to me about, have you ever considered um, coming to the finance? Like, you work so hard, but of course, it's handsomely rewarding and that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a thing for me at that point. But the straw that broke the camel back for me was actually my experience trying to buy my first home.
Wow.
The experience to buy my first home, um, we'll come back to that story maybe later on,
Absolutely.
but
We
that
will.
was that was the line in the sand for me to,
Wow.
not to say go to finance. Of course, that's always been there, like looking, the desire to have something of my own, something I can control, employed and whatnot. That was
Yeah.
always burning in me. But
But you saw a
which direction?
problem. You saw a problem when you encountered the experience of buying your first property. And when you made that decision, what did people around you, what did they think about that move?
Crazy, absolutely crazy. You must be nuts. You- I like my friends to be able to tell it as it is. No
Yes.
beating around the bush. I know you will support me. I know you trust in me. However, you have a mortgage at this point. You have a stable job. Nobody was. So what is the problem? What is the problem? Why this is? In fact, nobody said this was going to be possible. Nobody said. Uh, they believe in me. I've lost the plot. I'm leaving engineering to finance. It's not like I'm going in as an employee.
You're going to
I'm
start
going
your own
in.
thing.
I'm going in to start from ground up.
Wow.
So most people that make this sort of decision to become self-employed, either, as a project manager, you can decide to go solo because you already have, various.
You have to believe in the impossible to do things like this. I mean, typical of an entrepreneur. And today you're here. You are, as far as anyone can tell, the only black-owned mortgage brokerage in Scotland. Now that's a historic gap. Like, it requires a whole round of applause. So when did you first clock that gap?
Yeah. So whilst I was thinking about, okay, what's next for me, and
Yeah.
the challenges, like I said, so my experience buying my first home was the seed, right? To say, no, something must be better. Was it the fact that I couldn't comprehend what my broker was saying? Was it the total lack of knowledge for me as a first-time buyer? Or the service could have been better if I was speaking to someone that understand me? So
Yes.
that was the gap. My
Wow.
experience securing my first home was a gap for me. I thought, no, and I look around, to be frank, I couldn't see many of my kind that are probably broker. There might be some that work for specific lender, but you don't know them because they are within they are within the bank, not people that like myself that are just intermediary. So that was the gap for me. That was the hunger. That was what battered everything else.
Wow. Wow. So I'm curious, why did you think nobody had filled that gap?
Well, if you ask me this question 3 years ago, I couldn't answer.
Mm.
A couple of things I can say. Number one, fill the gap in the sense that you are starting. Nobody's paying you. You have to hustle for the client. You have to hustle for the business.
Yeah.
And in this economy where you have bills staring you, staring you in the face
The
every
bills are
day,
not waiting for you.
so that was one part. The fact
Yeah.
that if it was an employer, being paid a certain amount of salary and whatever every month. So for me, um, the that is one factor. People were up till now. I still get people say to me, "Are you employing? Can you employ me and pay me to do this?" I said,
Hmm.
"Well, that's a different conversation." So another thing could be that this is an absolute honesty through my experience.
Mm.
Um, I think the community still find it difficult when it comes to this aspect of finance to actually talk to their own kind. There
Mm.
is an element of pride to say, I don't want to know, I don't want you to know where I earn, I don't want you to know what is in my credit. Like I
Wow.
said, I can speak into that now because I've had people have actually said this to me.
Hmm.
I've had client that says to me, right, well, yeah, I would rather go and use XYZ and not you. And even some that do end up doing business with me will say to me that, oh, at the end, once everything is fine and everyone is happy, will say to me, I was worried about Nigerian factor playing a part
Wow.
in this business. What do you mean?
What
you
do you
know,
mean Nigerian factor? So because
I
there are a
can,
couple of people who are listening to this who may not understand where you're coming from. So there is clearly that trust gap.
yeah.
And how did you overcome this trust gap? It means that you have been able to help people across the UK to
Mm,
own houses. I'm not just talking about Nigerians, Ugandans, Ghanaians, and other countries as well. So
mm.
how did you overcome that trust gap?
So again, everything is finding the gap, right?
Mm.
One of the principle of marketing or selling that have been taught and which remains the same till now is if people buy people, right?
Yeah.
So and that people buy people, one of that is they need to trust you. Some will buy you, some trust you, but even though you are not as good, but they just trust you, right?
Yeah.
This at the very beginning, uh, hearing all this sort of feedback, gaining that trust, how did I overcome that trust issue? I position myself as a professional.
Mm.
So it's not about who you are. I do a good job by you and I'm available to you when you need me. I think people want to know, can you be there when I need you? So, and this is how I position myself and the business overall to say, we are there for you when you need us. Of course, these things takes time, you know. Remember, I wasn't a mortgage advisor within a banking sector
Yeah.
before. I didn't work for nobody. So this is me just, hey, here I am, you know,
Yeah.
do business with me. So it was just a case of continue to deliver on results and working my client. I think many people find most of my clients do find joy in walking them through that process of becoming homeowner. So at the end of the process, one thing, we've achieved our goal, but equally it doesn't feel as terrible as some of them think,
Yeah.
because I've been able to help them to understand these things. So we're still growing, we're still building the trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is how I've been able to overcome that in the nutshell, to say this is what we do it well,
Yeah.
and we tell you what we're gonna do and we deliver.
Absolutely. And as an organization that, I mean, this sector is highly regulated by the FCA. So for you to play in this space, you must have done all the due diligence. And that's another layer of trust that you have established. And I mean, anybody can go online and check it and they will find this. And I think that's one of the things that I find very interesting. So for you as someone who have sat across the table from hundreds of people in our community who they came to the room, they were thinking they couldn't get a mortgage, there is visa restriction, there is a deposit, there's a credit score. I mean, the list of these reasons that they give themselves is endless. What
Yep.
is the biggest misconception you keep hearing? What does this truth actually look like?
Yeah. The biggest misconception is from most people is that the interest rate, their interest rate is different because they are
Wow.
skilled worker or foreigner to British to a citizen. So if you are British, you get a different interest rate. If you are foreign national, you get a different interest rate.
And is that the case though?
Absolutely not. That's not the case. The process doesn't look at who you are to give you to determine your interest rate. There are a number of things that goes into what rate you pay, what rate I pay, depending on the lender, depending on many factors, many factors. But on the surface of it, I was having a chat with another client that thinks because of their age, they're not gonna get a better deal. You hear? So, and that also goes into, because of who I am, because I'm foreign national, because of my age,
Yeah.
there are some things that I'm not that cannot work for me, or I will be at disadvantage when it comes to getting a mortgage, which are not correct.
Wow. Wow. So, I mean, how does someone face change when they realize that they actually qualify?
Yeah, it's like, oh, really? That's not what that's not what Instagram, TikTok, and whatnot, that's not what that says about this process. Well, really excited. Most of them feel, wow. So, right, this can happen. Wow, very great. So it's a relief and excitement at the same time to say, all right, this is good. So how do we go on about it?
Wow, that's very interesting. Now, I mean, you mentioned just now that one of the myths that people believe it's maybe age factor. They have different credit score because of their origin or country of origin and things like that. And these are clearly myths, by the way, which you have confirmed.
Some people just think mortgage is not a thing that they can get. So they don't know how to go about it. They think the rate is not to their favor. And that's the most, I think the rate one, thinking that they couldn't get a good deal. That's always one of the biggest really conversation. And of course, that comes with a number of other things. Would the bank lend to my age? And many other factors, to be honest. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. So, I mean, thank you for at least debunking all of this myth. So if you were to walk me through what actually happens, from the moment someone picks up the phone, to call you, all the way to the day they get their keys. Now, because I think one of the things that stops people is they don't know what they are getting into. So what does that journey look like in your hands?
Absolutely. That is a thing. Even for that is the biggest. I think the biggest worry for anyone is first time buyer. It doesn't matter. Those that are probably native to the UK because they might have uncle, brother, mom, and dad. But for foreign nationals, which are my 90% of my market, it's all about how do we go about it. So what does the process looks like? Very straightforward and simple process. However, it's okay for me to say it that way because it's my day-to-day work, right?
It's your field,
So
yes.
it's the process is as simple as number one, the moment you start thinking about I'm going to have a place I can call mine, you want to find out how is my credit score? How is my credit to rating? What does the record holds about how I manage finance? I'm shocked as to how many people doesn't even have never heard about credit report, credit
Wow.
file. I mean, I've come across clients that have lived in the UK for 3, 4, 5 years and even more. And you mentioned credit report, like what was that? What's that? I would think that should
Really?
be a primary thing as part of the
Wow.
orientation coming into the UK. So
Yes.
that is the first stage. You are thinking about securing mortgage at some point. The first thing you want to do is, okay, go to a financial advisor, someone like myself. Okay, I'm thinking of this. What do I need to know? Right. The first thing we need to know is let's have a look at your financial record because that tells every lender out there how well you've
Yep.
been managing credit, and
Yep.
also that carries that data. We also include details of your places, your residential
Yes.
record, and many other things.
Yep.
So that is the first stage. We look at that and we look at your income. That credit report also gives us information about your income and your expenses as well. So what are the things you have outstanding? What are the things you are committed to? We look at your income situation. At the end of that stage one is me being able to tell you you have X amount of money that you could potentially borrow to secure a property. So the stage two is you now go and start gathering funds if you don't have savings already. Stage one, we will discuss all that. This is what is available to you. This is the amount of deposit you need. Stage two, gather your money, look for that property. And stage three, you come back to me. I found the property of interest. We get a solicitor involved to do the negotiation for you. Upon the offer being accepted by the seller or by the builder, then we move on to stage five, where stage four, where we complete the mortgage application. And stage five is where you get the key to say, woohoo, the fresh and latest landlord in town
Yeah, I
or
got the
homeowner.
house. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, this is very good to know. And
Mm.
so, but beyond the credit report, is there any other thing that gets people anxious in the process?
Uh, First time buyers, they want to know that you have their interest at heart. Now, each stage of the process is a worry for an average first-time buyer. You've gotten your mortgage. Every stage is stressful, right? Apart from stage one to say this is how much you can borrow. For those looking house hunting, that's always like, oh, many first time buyer would think we found a property, they're asking for 200,000, we've offered 200,000. And so what happened next? Well, the seller might accept or reject. So then what do we do? What do we need to do to make sure they accept? Is it not first come, first serve? No, it is
Wow,
not. It's
that's
like
not the case.
negotiating. You get the best deal
Wow.
for it. That always comes with a level of anxiousness. And the second stage, once I say to them,
So, what do they call that thing? You make an offer. Is it that all the houses you have to make an offer and other people also make an offer? And is the offer that the other people are making, is it that they can increase it? How does that
right,
work?
yeah, good question. And good questions. If you are looking for a brand new property, for example, one that's just still under construction, you go there, you see it, you like it, you make reservation, and you wait for the property to be ready. Job done. If you are looking, if a already built house, then this is where you see, go to Zopla and all this site. This
Yeah.
property is up for sale is 200,000. So they are inviting the seller, or the estate agent is inviting interest in that property. So most of the time, whoever offered the most. So the property is marketed at 200,000. The valuation is 200,000, for example. So the seller will be looking for who is giving me the most money, generally, right? If you have a property on the market for 200,000, some property, if they gathered enough interest, they will set a closing date to say, okay, we have 10 people looking to offer on this property. Get your offer in by Tuesday, 12 p.m. That's the deadline. And we're going to pick the best of them. That is one route. The second route could be you continue to offer. If you have a closing date, you need to put your best offer in because you can't go back, right? If it's a situation where there is no closing date, you can offer, and if the seller say I don't want that, you can go back and top it up until you can't top up anymore. But for one that has a closing, just go in with your best. Decision will be made after the closing date. If it's a brand new property, you know what the price is going to be. You agree that upfront. You make reservation. You walk away.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting to know. So, I mean, I think it was important we we shed light on that. So it's easier like a straight jacket when you go for, a new property, but it's a different case when the property is it's not the first owner anymore. So, I mean, without naming anyone, is there a client whose story you still think about? Maybe someone who, came to you went with everything that, and it felt like it shouldn't work. Okay,
Mm,
but it
mm,
did work. So tell me on that journey, what did they believe when they first called you,
mm.
and what did they find when they looked at the situation properly, and how did everything happen and they finally got their keys?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have many of
Wow,
these, and
interesting.
sometimes it's not like the case is complicated. It's just a case of because they don't know. They're just naturally drained by the whole process, and to know that it could happen within 5 days, I say, "Whoa, really? Is it that?" So specifically, I'm speaking to a recent one that struck the chord just like that. So this client had gone through many other brokers, and for whatever reason, they keep hearing it's not possible, or you come back, and to the extent that they were at the stage of just, maybe not now, just let it be. So this has been going on for about probably 6 months before they came to me. Client that says, no, go to Steven, he's gonna sort you out. And when I tell you this, no kidding, every time people call to say, right, is that Steven? So refer me. And they said to me, just whatever I need, you're gonna provide it. I was like,
Wow.
wow, okay, no pressure then. No pressure.
Just
Okay.
like
So this was
wow.
exactly in this case, in the sense that 6 months of trying and still not getting anywhere. And to the client, the most annoying part is they don't really know why it's not happening. The bank cannot lend us, or our broker is away on holiday and whatnot. So they came to me at this point through a referrer and say, we found a property. So what's been the issue? Well, what as your broker, this bank cannot lend us, that lender cannot lend us for various reasons. I had a look at the situation, and I'll tell you, I said at this point, I still do that till today. Every single client, even though I can see what the outcome will be, I still want you to have that fresh. I can't overpromise. I underpromise and overdeliver. That is always what I try to do. Look at everything. Took them through the 5-stage process. This is what's going to happen. Submit the mortgage application. Within 3 days, I call them up to say, are you sitting down? I like using that phrase. Are you sitting? It's like, just Steven, it's been 7 months now. So
Wow.
we're not expecting, it can't get any worse. So tell me, you've gotten mortgage offer. You can hear the
Wow.
screams down. And that is the reaction money cannot buy for me. Because I
Wow.
love that. I just
Because
love
you were
them.
once in that position.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, that the money cannot, there's no satisfy, no, nothing greater than that to know that, yes, they can braid. I mean, like I said, a million examples, just touching on one, just that one. And
Mm,
one came to mind as well. One of my clients, this was about 2 years of constant knockback, right? The
yeah,
moment I called them to say they've gotten a mortgage offer, that was a level of excitement. But the day they collected the key,
yeah,
was videoing around the house with me. I was there for we just need you to see it for yourself, right? And
yeah.
had me on the video and show me around the house and just screaming and shouting. The children were bouncing
Wow.
off the wall.
Wow. That's
It's
that's so
great, great.
priceless. It's so priceless. And of course when that happens, do they often tell their friends that they should just come to you if they want to get the house?
That's it. That's the message. That's the
Wow.
message. And I try to, as a salesperson, as a business owner, I try to use the opportunity to say, once, go and enjoy, but remember to tell all your friends and family to. I need to seize that moment as well to say, remember to tell others about how we've been able to support you through this. And I'm grateful to every single client of mine since the beginning till now. Repeat clients, keep
Yeah.
referring people. Vivid is where it is today, just simply because of how loyal our clients are.
Hmm.
And of course, we do right by them, is why they can draw more people to us, and we are grateful for that.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, you say Vivid Financial Solutions where it is now because of all of this, right? I was just wondering how long have Vivid Financials been operating for? And if you were to give a ballpark figure of the number of people you've been able to get, their own houses, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Vivid Financial Solutions Limited, 3 years this month. Obviously, I've been in the business longer than that, but
Yeah,
being the CEO of Vivid Financial, which is my baby now,
yeah.
3 years ago. And just looking at the numbers, which we do every December anyway. So just count up to March this year. I can say we've helped um, just over 380 first-time
Wow.
buyers. Over
Wow.
380 first-time buyers.
That
That
is
is small,
amazing.
but that is big.
I remember having a conversation with you, I think a couple of months ago, and you were telling me that your vision is to see that people get houses. And I'm like, are you
Uh,
a business person or you just want to help people to get houses? Where is that your vision? You've provided, platform for that they are now into the business. They're now becoming mortgage advisors and they're working, with your company independently. How,
yeah,
how does that work as well? And how many people have you done this for? And like, where are they across Scotland or even the UK?
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Thanks for that. You remember my coming to this sector is to make sure you can, before you look at, I say this and I still tell every single one of the every single member of the company right now to, like, every town you go to, you want to have a mortgage broker that is of your kind in that
Yeah,
area. So that is my
absolutely.
driving force. That is the next phase of what we're doing right now. So we have 8 in total. We have 8 advisors within the business. So we
Wow.
have advisors from all the way down south in London, all the way up in Aberdeen, north of
Interesting.
Scotland. So you can see all the way from London all the way through to Aberdeen. So,
Yeah,
and we spread all across the UK,
amazing.
providing the same top level advice to every single client. Yeah.
Wow, that's good to know. So here is something I mean I want to get your take on because I think it gets missed in conversations about mortgages. So buying a home isn't about having somewhere to live. It changes your financial position in ways that renting can never do, right? And
Spot
so
on.
for someone in our community, all right, who is renting for 5 years, 6 years, or even 7 years, what actually shifts the day they own, right? They become homeowners. And where can that first home take them if they are smart about it?
Mm. Um, Having your own home puts you in a different, when it comes to asset acquisition and what that, having your own home, that's an asset of yours, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You could, it could become a cash to you later, whatever you want to do with that. But the human element of that is the fact that you don't need to worry about one landlord harassing you or increasing the rent and whatnot.
Yeah.
If you want to paint your ceiling red or whatever, you have the freedom to do whatever you want.
Yes.
You don't need to worry; it becomes yours. And I think there is always a shift in um, being responsible. The way you use your own home, the way you will probably use a rented home, you won't do just anyhow to your own home because you are intentional
Absolutely.
about it, and there shouldn't be any difference. But there is something about this is mine. It's while she can go to bank and say, "I'm needing a loan. I'm renting. I just want an unsecured loan." There
Hmm.
is so far you could take. For example, if you do not have a mortgage, you are renting, but you want to take out some loan, you might be able to take up to an X amount of money.
Hmm.
But if you have an
A
asset
property,
such
yeah.
as
An asset,
property,
yeah.
then that changes probably how
How
you
much you
have
can
something
access.
that changes. You have something for collateral basically, so which
Wow.
shift
So
how you are regarded.
it's not just owning a home, it's changing your financial status. Like you are now
Absolutely.
like an asset owner,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
just
it changed everything about you. You're not on a rent
yeah.
anymore.
It somebody was saying to me that when you're living in a rented apartment, that you're probably just helping somebody pay off their mortgage. Is that true?
Absolutely. That's what it is, an
Wow.
exchange for you are helping somebody pays off their mortgage, but that's an exchange, right?
Yeah.
You're exchanging something for something, but in
Yeah.
essence, that's what it is. So at the
Amazing.
end of, I'm tied into, I have an asset, I, I've taken out a loan on an asset,
Hmm.
and I'm renting out that asset. For example, my loan will be paid off in 20 years. At the end of the 20 years, I'm owing nothing on that asset because
Absolutely.
it's true, because you pay the rent in exchange for
For
the accommodation, right?
accommodation. Yeah.
But the essence is, in the end, you're helping somebody pay. It's an exchange. It's like, don't let it look at it as,
Wiser choice is to pay to own as opposed to just pay and that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
so I mean, for
yeah.
somebody listening
And
now, that should be
in
the way
in
to go.
in so in trying to underscore something with that question as well, this is where the turning point is usually.
Okay.
So if you're renting for 5 years, for example, at the end of the 5 years, what do you take away with you? Whatever you take into the property, right? So 5 years you've
Yeah.
paid, let's assume it's just a £500 a year, £500 a month.
Mhm.
So at the end of the 5 years, you're gonna take your bags and whatnot and
Hmm.
out of the property.
Yes.
If you are paying the mortgage in that same period as well, you will be taking something away. And if you decide to dispose to sell up that property after 5 years, let's assume the property hasn't appreciated in value. Just this, still the same 100,000 property, 100,000.
Yeah.
You're gonna take something away from that property. It's not gonna be your
Absolutely.
500 times 12
I
times 5,
see.
because you'll be paying interest, right? So
Yep.
let's do the simple math. So you have a mortgage and you are paying £500 a month.
Yep.
Out of that £500, let's assume that £300 is your capital,
Yes.
200 is the interest
The
charge.
interest. Yeah.
So in a year, that's six,
Yep. I'm putting
3,600,
the
3 times
calculators
12
here.
times 5.
Times 5. That is
So
18,000
worst
pounds.
case scenario, at the end of the 5 years, you're gonna walk away. If you sell the house, nothing has changed, still the same condition, no
Yeah.
appreciation in value. You're gonna walk away with 18,000. In that same
Whoa.
period, you've paid £500 a month on the rent, which is 6,000 a year times 5.
Hmm. 6,000
You're
times
talking about
5
30 grand,
is
right?
30,000
30
pounds.
30,000. So that's
30,000
what you've
pounds.
paid in rent, and you have
Yes.
nothing.
So if there is nothing that anybody takes away from this, just hearing this narrative alone,
Yeah,
it lets somebody know that it is best to own your home, your property,
yeah,
and in next 5 years you change your mind, right? You want to sell off. You're still living with something instead
yeah,
of just living for 7 years or 6 years and you're just living without anything. I think it's a
absolutely.
way to go.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and these things, just to balance the scorecard, these are the questions that I get asked all the time. And people will also say, oh, when you have your own home, it's more responsibility. You are
Mhm.
responsible for the boiler, for the this, for that.
Absolutely.
Hey, You drive your car. Who does the MOT for you? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
part of your responsibility. That this is your asset. You got to make sure you look after your asset. Many will argue it's a
Mhm.
waste of money, the interest is high and whatnot, but you can't really convince people to invest. You can only tell them, let them see the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Let them make
And
up
the
their
numbers
mind.
don't lie.
No, no.
Amazing. So, and I want you to be honest about this, okay? Not modest. So you're building something bigger than a brokerage, right? You're training
Correct.
next level, next generation of advisors through your academy, because I know you train people, and you said they're spread across the UK just now.
Yeah.
So you're changing who a community calls when they want to buy a home.
Yeah.
So the question is, 10 years from now, what does that look like? And what are you actually trying to build?
What I'm trying to build, two things. Number one is to make sure that before you count 3 brokerage, you see your kind in one of them, not just as an advisor
Yeah.
that owns a brokerage, a mortgage, that owns a company.
Yeah.
It's not just an advisor. So before you count, if not 50-50, let's just use the population as to say, okay, we'll be modest with that. That is my goal. 10 years from now, you are having more of our people. You have more of our people in this space. Let's
Yeah.
let's use a population
Okay.
benchmark to say,
Yeah.
okay, it's 10-2 or something like that.
Oh,
And I'm
okay.
saying we're gonna go. It's gonna be like 40-60. So I want to make sure 10 years from now you have at least one. When you look at 3 broker firm,
Yeah.
one is people of my kind that owns that company.
Yeah.
So that is priority number one for me.
Wow.
And of course, the second most important thing to that, if I can do it, and you have the core heart to help people,
Hmm.
to provide, to do the right by people. This is because this remains my ethos. This is not easy, especially the way I came into the industry.
Yeah.
Remember, when I said to you that we've helped in 3 years, we've helped less than 400 people. Some other brokerage firm probably they do that in 6 months, right? That's nothing. That's like some people probably that's the number of how many completion they had in 2 months, right? But
Mm,
for me, that's massive. But I'm not there yet. That's not where that's just the beginning for me. So
absolutely.
I want to make sure giving people, I'm marketing people coming to this industry like my life depends on it. I
Yeah.
want to show them what is possible. It's rewarding. It's hard
Absolutely.
work when you are coming in. And I'll tell you, every single 8 of us, every single advisors with the company are like me. None of them came with the experience. I've just been
Wow.
lucky in bringing people like me on board, which is great.
Which
It's
means which means
very
anybody who
intense.
wants to be part of this, they do not need to worry if they have not been in the financial service industry before.
No,
Wow.
no,
Wow.
they do not need to worry. And of course, it's a lot of work,
Yeah.
but it's one I enjoy doing because do you want it? I was given the chance when I don't know nothing, and if I can be here today, I think you can do better.
Absolutely. So you talked about the vision for, the industry and, the mortgage advisor. So what is your vision in the next 10 years in terms of, people that look like you, look like myself, in owning homes or houses in Scotland or across the UK? What?
Um, I want to see those that right now have a little home here and there. Nothing stops them becoming a property investors massively, right? Those that have gotten started very
Yeah.
early. In 10 years' time, I keep joking with my friends, and I mean this when I say to them that, right, see my street in few years' time, mini Nigeria in this community. You look
Yes.
at them, you go to the next community like mini, because be it I have that many portfolio that's rented out, or
Hmm.
you have that many homeowners that are dominating. Just there's nothing wrong. I
No, there's
just
nothing
have that
wrong.
weird vision to
Absolutely.
say every town you go to in Scotland, you just say that street is a Nigerian is a Nigerian street. It's African street. It's
Kenya Street.
exactly.
Wow.
And talking about the next 10 years, I'm big on going to all this career fair with different schools and different things for two reasons. I want the younger generation, those still in high school,
Yes.
to see that, oh, mortgage broker, what is that? So, you know, it's representation is one big thing for me, because I'm going to I go to secondary school career fair, for example.
Yeah.
They are looking for, all right, how do I get into teaching? How do I go to uni? How do I go into, you're talking about finance. For me, it's not really about them coming to say, oh, how do I get into finance? But we have
Mm.
our children all over the schools, but they can see another company, another business, that the CEO, that the director is an African person, a Black person for that matter. That is a message on its own. So 10 years from now,
Absolutely.
they are dominating this industry, be it employed or, but most importantly, one that really excites me is them saying that I can own a business. I can have a
Absolutely.
business, whatever that looks like to them.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm reminded of, I think it was John D. Rockefeller, and he kept on acquiring properties and land and all that. And somebody was asking, why are you just so driven? You're just hungry for more. And he said he just want to acquire the land that is next to his.
It doesn't want, no, 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 it doesn't want, I love that. Love that.
I don't want much, just the land that is next to mine.
No, no, I'm not going far away. Just the one next to it, and next to it, and next
And
to
next to
it.
it, and next to it. And so, of course, it keeps on going. But that drive and hunger, I think it's something that typifies people who innovate, people who create value. And we need more people who are in that space doing such things. So if somebody wants to get a property now or get into, the advisory business, what is the first step they need to take to start, to reach out to you or to start? How do they go about it?
Well, call me by phone or text on 0783092. The first thing you need to do is don't get flooded by different media posts. Come and speak to real people like myself. Uh, I want to become an advisor. What does that look like?
Yeah.
I want to buy my first home. What does that look like? That is the best you could do for yourself. Speak to real people. ChatGPT will go a long way, but come and get the the on time, real time information.
Real time, that is like tailored to your specific need. That's where you need an expert to give that advice. They can
Yes, on
connect with you on
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn.
on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course in my office as well.
Fantastic. So we're going to put that in the show notes, and people can click on it and get in touch with you,
Yeah.
or they want to get into the mortgage advisory business. So before we leave, I would like to ask you a question, right? What will you tell Steven 10 years before now? What are three things? And what will that Steven tell you today?
Right. So, Stephen, 10 years ago, this dream that you keep delaying and not sure I will start now. Don't wait
Wow.
tomorrow. Start now. That's the first thing I'm going to say to you. And guess what? The second thing I'm going to tell Stephen is, if you fail, you have tried. And the third thing is, nothing beats hard work. So that is
Amazing.
telling Stephen 10 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and so now then Stephen is advising the Stephen of
I
today,
mean,
right? Stephen, well, you've wasted a few years. You have to play catch up, mate.
interesting. Interesting. So, I mean, it's been very interesting hearing your story, how you started, and what drove you into this business. For me, I think that it typifies passion, tenacity, because you're doing something that has not been done before. You need to be driven and focused to do that. And I appreciate you for your wealth of knowledge and experience and for sharing that with us. And we hope that all the listeners and those who listen to this in the years to come would recognize how they can become homeowners, investors. And thank you so much. Do have a fantastic day.
Thank you. Before you go, I want to appreciate you for the time and, so much work you've put into this. It's been a pleasure connecting with you. And thanks for championing everything that you know is possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Bye now.